The Dreamcast was the last console made by SEGA. First released in 1999, on 9/9/99 to be exact. It would be only on the market for less than 3 years, ending production in 2001. For its short lifespan, it attracted a very dedicated fanbase over the years. Very dedicated like there are indie games still released for the system over 20 years later. I never had a Dreamcast during its time on the market. I went from playing my SEGA Genesis to playing Sonic games on a Nintendo platform. There's quite a lot I missed in between. For me, the Dreamcast was this mythical console that everyone always spoke so highly of. I have since purchased the system, 2 in fact, but I never had a chance to go online with it until today. Over the years, fans have developed many aftermarket modifications for the Dreamcast. You could just about replace everything inside the system aside from the motherboard. This is my modded Dreamcast. Ignore the dirty shell. I plan on replacing that one day. And ignore the power cable sticking out of the console. I'm just stupid. Just pay no mind. I modded my system with a GDEMU clone, allowing me to play games off a SD card. I changed out the power supply with a Pico PSU, which allows for cooler temperatures inside. And to aid that, I even upgraded the exhaust fan to a much quieter Nautica fan. This really feels like a PC with how easy it is to take parts out and put new ones in. In a way, the Dreamcast is a PC, even using a form of Windows CE for some games. A big focus for SEGA was on online gaming. This is one of the first dedicated video game consoles to feature a 56K modem bundled with every system. The 90s were the first time for many to have access to the World Wide Web. The internet was brought via our phone wires to our houses. In order to browse the internet, you just had to not use your telephone at all. Sit down on your computer, most likely running Windows 95 or 98, and listen to this beauty of a sound. Oh yeah, I could hear the data moving through those phone lines. Then you would check your email, go to your website you usually visit, and even play some video games online. For the home consoles, these activities were completely uncharted territory. In order to play your online games on the Dreamcast, you had to sign up for ISP service with SEGA. This was different for the 3 main regions of the world. The US had a service called SEGANet. Think of this like PlayStation Network or Xbox Live of today. It charged a monthly fee, and you could use it to not just play certain games online, but some games offered DLC to download, and you could even use a web browser. The SEGANet service was pretty successful at its time, launching in the year 2000. You could have gotten 2 years of SEGANet, a bundle with the system, a keyboard, and web browser, and you would have gotten a rebate for the console, essentially giving it to you for free. Unfortunately, deals like this could not have saved SEGANet, discontinuing the service along the Dreamcast, then openly shutting down the servers in 2003. Having less than a year of active support, this would have been the end for the little console that could. Except the fans would never let the system down. Nowadays, private servers are very popular for older games, allowing people to play games like they used to back in the day. The Dreamcast has that, plus some other online features restored, and that is all possible with Raspberry Pi. For the Dreamcast, there's a piece of software called DreamPi. It allows you to use your modern internet to play these dial-up games and go online once again. Not everything is playable or working right now, but there is an active effort to bring as many games online that they can. The DreamPi software runs on a Raspberry Pi single board computer. I'm not going to give a tutorial on this, but it's pretty easy once you have the correct hardware to do it. A tutorial can be found on the website dreamcastlive.net. It's like the main hub for all things online for the Dreamcast. For instance, they sell these special USB 56K modems. Personally, I never saw them in stock, but you can send in either a Dell or Lenovo modem to them and they'll give it a line voltage inducer. I didn't opt to do that, instead I bought this cable from a seller on eBay. One end goes to the Dreamcast, while the other end goes to the USB modem. I got this no-name brand adapter. Your mileage may vary if you get one, but this one works for me. Then the USB for power goes in the Raspberry Pi. I have the Pi 02W to be exact. With this Raspberry Pi, you can use Wi-Fi, but I couldn't get it to work, so I'm using this Nintendo Switch Ethernet adapter, and that worked just fine. As far as setup on the Dreamcast goes, all you need is a web browser. I'm going to use this web browser 2.0 I got from a convention years ago. Go into the internet settings. You can put anything for a user's login, but the password is Dreamcast all in lowercase. Put 1111111 into the dial-up number boxes just like I have it. For the DNS boxes, set all those to 0. Leave all the other settings at the defaults, then save to the internal memory, which I didn't even know the Dreamcast had. Then you're good to go. Okay, we went through all that to get online again, but what could we do? Like I said, not every game is restored online functionally, but one thing you can do is surf the web. I recommend that you get a keyboard, as typing with a controller is a pain. You don't have to get an official Dreamcast keyboard. There are adapters allowing PS2 keyboards to work just like this Mad Catz one I have. This keyboard is an old Dell mechanical keyboard, Sounds so great, but you have to press down some keys really hard for them to work though. There's also a USB adapter for modern keyboards and even for modern computer mice. There is definitely an adjustment period to browsing on dial-up again. Sitting and waiting for a web page and all its pictures to load, this is one thing I don't want to remember about browsing the internet. There are a number of web browsers for the Dreamcast, but the one that's probably the best to use is the XDP browser. It is the latest browser currently available. Latest as in it was the last released in 2008. But there are a few websites that will work, the main one being dreampipe.net. Using the DreamPipe should automatically redirect you to the site with official browsers, but it didn't work for me. DreamPipe is the main restoration hub for Dreamcast. It has a few links to other websites. You can create an account as if it's a SegaNet account, although I couldn't seem to do anything with it. You can also view leaderboards for certain games. That's neat. The VMU option allows you to download DLC for Dreamcast games. Yeah, DLC was a thing in 1999. It was free too. The BB option gives you a Dreamcast bulletin board to use. Think of it like a retro Reddit. Internet forums were how many people and fandoms could come together and talk, spread information, and get their ideas out in the world. It's like the oldest form of internet communication. You get such great things like, what do you call a swimming pasta? A poodle. How riveting. Dreamcast Live has a Dreamcast optimized version of its website. Here you can view the latest news, talk in the chat room, browse the DLC again. There's a music section, but that didn't work for me. You can even sign the guest book. Websites used to have these all the time. It's a way to leave your mark on a website that you visited. The website also gives a few links to some older content. Here you can learn how evil Internet Explorer is. Yeah, enough of that. The homepage for XDP browser is so wonderfully mid-2000s, it hurts. Never mind the fact that the person who made this site named themselves after a drug reference. The style and layout is so functional. Sure, it doesn't have material design or whatever we call modern app-centric websites. We want to download the browser? Bam! Download it on your PC in 15 different parts. Want to listen to some music? Bam! Download some and play some MIDIs. Who needs Spotify, am I right? Want to play some games? Here you go. Of course, I'm being a little ridiculous. All these things are very rudimentary, but this is how we did things online back in the day. Going on websites to play flash games, downloading these files online. We had to be more patient back in those days. The website also has Dreamcast VMU save files that you can freely download. Remember unlocking things before everything was just behind a paywall or loot box now? Who knows how long this website will be up and still hosted, but for today, I got to view it for the first time. One more website I'd like to mention is theoldnet.com. It uses the Internet Wayback Machine to view old web pages from the past. It is not perfect, not everything was saved or could be saved. This website was made so older computers could have access to websites easier. Like you could go to Sega.com from 1996. Not sure why it's playing a Sega voice clip over and over again. Did you know there was a problem with a batch of game discs in 1999? I didn't, but now I know. You can also browse Wikipedia from here. However, it was really slow, and it actually made my Dreamcast freeze up, so just fair warning. Dreamcast Live has a list of currently available games with restored online features. I would also check the connection guide as some games require you to do something else to get them to work. There is also a weekly schedule with multiple game nights set up. If you want to experience online gameplay on the Dreamcast, I recommend you to join them. A helpful website is called Dreamcast Now. You can set it up with your DreamPipe and you can see other people's online status. Outside of those scheduled times, it is basically impossible to find random people to play online with. Thanks to the DreamPipe, I was able to turn back to the clock and experience browsing the internet on the Dreamcast for the first time. Today's websites use many security protocols in order to function. So for the grand majority of websites, they just don't work on the Dreamcast. Technology advances, leaving the internet that we knew behind. While we can never get the exact same experience again, like we did in the year 2000, what we do have is kind of like what the best hits of what was once possible. The Dreamcast was ahead of its time, saddled with bad business decisions, and was able to make its mark on the video game industry. It's still thinking. I wonder what it's thinking about.